ready for true happiness, for deep fulfillment, for feeling alive, on purpose, and in control of your life again? It's time to be the bold, brilliant, beautiful woman you were born to be. Welcome to the PurposeGirl Podcast. I'm women's happiness and life purpose expert Karen Rockhind, and I'm going to teach you how to live on purpose, feel alive, and be happy in every aspect of life. I'm going to get real about my life and interview women who are living on purpose so that you can finally live yours. Welcome to the show. Hello, 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 my goddess on purpose. Hello, my purpose girls. I am so happy to be with you today. I am back from 7 glorious weeks in Miami Beach. Waking up every morning to the beautiful sunshine, to palm trees that were as tall as like 2 giraffes standing on top of each other, coconuts falling onto the ground, other palm trees that like spanned out like fans, and these gorgeous flowers. I think they're like hibiscus flowers, maybe. They're like coral color, salmon color, and all these like hot pink bougainvillea. I mean, it was just like paradise. It was paradise. And it's the kind of thing that I used to only dream about. I used to think that going away for almost 2 months was for other people, right? Like, oh, other people get to do that kind of thing. Other people get to be nomads. Other people get to travel all the time. Other people get to do these things. And I had a thought about who those other people were. Oh, they have money. Oh, they have ease. Oh, they have this. They have that. And then, thank goodness, I had the knowing years ago, and it came with purpose. It really came with me living my purpose, and we're going to talk about that. I had the knowing, oh, I can do that too. Oh, it's not for other people, it's for me. And so in this episode of the Purpose Girl Podcast, I want to seed that with you. It's for you. Anything that is in your heart, anything that lights you up, anything that you look at other people with jealousy, anything that you hear yourself say, it's for other people. Let me be a living example for you that it is for you. What we're going to talk about in today's episode of the Purpose Girl Podcast is that the answer for it to be for you is purpose. If I were not living my purpose, I would not have been able to do what I just did. And so that's what we're going to dive into. How being that goddess on purpose, how being on purpose, living on purpose will literally allow you to do anything that you desire. It's going to be so juicy. I cannot wait. Such a great episode. Of course, first we want to get to our review of the week. This is a 5-star review coming to us from April Rose. It's called Lit Up with a fire emoji. I've been on a journey with Karen, and what makes me keep coming back is her honesty, her love and passion, her vulnerability. She is real and raw. Every time I listen to her, I am lit up and on fire, ready to go. That makes me so happy. I'm a Goddess on Purpose alum. Oh, it's you, April. Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't get my reviews in advance. They just send them to me and I read them on air. I'm a Goddess on Purpose alum and now an empowered beauty. Yes, you are. And I cannot wait to see what else comes from being in her presence. Heart. Oh, April, I love you. Oh my Goddess. April, I just adore you. You all will adore April because she's going to be on a future episode of the Purpose Girl Podcast. This is a woman who came to me feeling dead inside. New mama. She has a baby who's 3, I think, and had really lost who she was. Waking up in the morning, taking care of the baby, going to work, coming home, and really lost herself. Like had no clue where her joy was. And in joining the Goddess on Purpose course, she found herself again. She literally remembered or rediscovered or simply discovered new her passions, what lights her up, what makes her excited. She found her own beauty, and now she is on this purpose path of inspiring other women to do the same. Oh, it's so freaking good. And the biggest key, she's like living on purpose, which we're going to talk about. April's amazing. You're going to want to hear from her. So good. And it all started with her taking the Goddess on Purpose course, which, by the way, friends, is open right now. Only time this year I'm going to do this course. It is my signature course that is so for you if you have been feeling lost, you've been feeling stuck, you don't even know where to start with purpose. Or maybe you have a sense of purpose, but you're stuck. It's like, it's just overwhelming. Or maybe you're just feeling lost and like something's missing and kind of that dead inside, which I so get, sister. I've so been there. Like April, like you. This course is the course. It's 8 weeks with me live. Like if you love listening to the Purpose Girl podcast, can you imagine you and I having a coaching relationship for 8 full weeks where I'm going to be in your ear. I'm going to be in your life, supporting you, finding those nuggets of purpose and passion, custom challenges for you to light up and for you to go after the dreams in your heart. This course has changed women's lives. And I pack it with so much that if at any moment you're like lost, you don't know what to do, you can turn to a purpose pack, which is a workbook you get every week, or you could go into the sisterhood. And if, by the way, if you have like women wounds, right, where you're like, ugh, I would never want to be in a group with women, then join this group because you will see that this is the kind of relationship with women that you've been yearning and craving, women who support you, who cheerlead you, who become friends for life, who believe in you. That magic is what made April on her purpose and happier than she's been and in love with her life. And she no longer has anxiety. And it's what will do the same for you. Go to goddessonpurposecourse.com, goddessonpurposecourse.com. I'm telling you, sister, it's so good. And it's fun and it's juicy and you will feel freaking alive and in control of your life again. And that's what you need for 2021 and beyond. Get your booty in class with me now. All right, this is actually a perfect segue to get back into Miami. And yes, I want to gush a little bit about Miami to you because I want you to have a sense of what is possible. Before I gush to you about Miami, here's what I want you to think about. What is that dream for you? For me, I always had a dream. Anytime I went to a workshop or worked with a coach and they would have me do a visioning exercise about what I want in life and what I could see, I always said, I wanted a life where I could travel for 2 months or pick up and go somewhere for 3 months and have the baby in tow. I always said that. And so I want you to hear my story from a lens of what is that for you? And then we're going to talk about the importance of being so clear in your vision. And if you're not clear, tools and getting your booty into the Goddess on Purpose course so that I can help you get clear because I will give you tools that will so get you there. And I want you to remember that I'm just like you, right? Like here I am, a 46-year-old mom who lives in the burbs, who grew up in a middle-class family, youngest of 3, have my own shit. You know, I suffer from anxiety attacks. Like, you know, I had fertility issues. So like, I'm no different than you. Okay. I'm a regular person. And I want you to keep that in mind. I want you to hear this entire episode, not as, oh, well, Karen can do that because she's got this big Purpose Girl business or because she's a podcaster or because she's got her husband. Nope. I want you to hear it as Karen does that because she's just like me and I can do it too, whatever my equivalent is. And of course, now I need to gush to you about Miami. Okay, so I want you to picture it, sister. A beautiful 4-bedroom home with 3 different living rooms, a beautiful brand new kitchen, palm trees, hot pink bougainvillea, those coral salmon color, bright lily looking, but they're not lilies. I think they're hibiscus flowers in the yard, a gate in front, stucco with the Spanish roof. I just want to give you like the full picture, like the marble floors. Just off of our bedroom is this covered patio where you aren't any live call with me other than the Women's Day event during the time we were in Miami. I was surrounded on all 4 sides by palm trees. Okay, this is where I lived for 7 weeks. It was pure heaven. And every morning we take a family walk. We take our dog, we get Shay ready. Our walks every morning, this house was on the most beautiful street, I think in all of Miami, maybe in all of the world, surrounded by these multi-million dollar mansions. Like while we were there, the house next door sold for $4.4 million. What? across the street, all the houses were on the bay. And so all we had to do was walk up one block, and there was a dog park that was literally on the water. So we would take our dog there in the morning or at night, and there'd be boats coming by. Like, where are we? What is this? This is like literally heaven. Pinch me. Am I dreaming? And then sometimes we would walk onto these private islands that you cannot get to in a car unless you have permission or you live there, but you can walk onto them. And so we would walk amongst these like 10, 20, $30 million homes, and we would visualize. And we would act as if it's one of the key tools that we lived there. And we did. We lived there for 7 weeks. That's living as far as I'm concerned. And in the middle of the day, well, first of all, I always end work by 3 so that I can be with Shay in the afternoon. Enormous part of me living my purpose is to have my own schedule, like enormous. That's a huge part of living on purpose that I'm going to talk about. And I could take him to the pool, or I could take him to the park, or take him to the beach, all while like 2 feet and then another foot and then another 2 feet of snow were dumping on my house in Philadelphia. We timed it exactly. We didn't even know this, but the date that we happened to plan to drive down to Florida was the date that 2 feet of snow was falling on our house. Now, you might say that was lucky. Some people say it. You might say that was lucky. I say it's me womanifesting all of my desires. It's me being so intentional, i.e. on purpose with my life. So let's pause for a moment and let's even look at the word purpose. What does it mean? Right? What does purpose mean for you? You listen to the PurposeGirl podcast, so you must be interested in purpose. What is it about purpose that you're seeking? Now, when I ask this question to classes or audiences or corporate speaking gigs, and when I ask this question to audiences, when I'm speaking or classes, I hear it's the reason I get out of bed in the morning. But I want purpose because it's like, it's that thing that I'm living for. It's my reason for being. And purpose is all of those things. And at its most simple definition, right, according to the dictionary, purpose is intention. Right? It's being intentional. And so, yeah, we all want to live our purpose. What's my purpose for living? And being a goddess on purpose means that you're living purposefully. You're living intentionally. You are designing your life how you want it to be, in a way that is in alignment with your heart and soul. You're clear on your desires. You're aware and attuned of what lights you up. You're listening deeply to yourself, to your soul, to your heart, to your pussy, to what juices you up. You're paying attention when you get jealous of other people, or when you feel lost, and when you feel like just something's missing and you need something. You're paying attention and you're listening. And then with that listening, you're intentional in creating what would fill that. Do you see what I'm saying? Purpose is intentional fulfillment. Let me repeat that. Purpose is intentional fulfillment. And yes, I believe that there is a purpose for your life, that you are here for an aim to make a difference, to make an impact. And that is part of purpose. And I'm going to talk about that aspect of it a little bit in this episode and more in future episodes. And at its base core, sister, it's you being intentional with your life. And I want you to pause for a moment. I want you to ask yourself, am I being intentional with my life? Am I running my life, or is my life running me? Now, I was in a women's group recently where woman after woman, as she shared how she does not know where time has gone. Days have passed, months, years. One woman shared that she intended 3 years ago to start working on a business idea that she had, and she doesn't know where the time has gone. Another woman shared that she just has no time for herself because she's so busy. She's got the kids. She's got, right, and especially with homeschooling or virtual schooling or whatever we want to call it with the pandemic. It's so easy for life to run us instead of us running life. And this is what I actually love about purpose. The minute you decide that you are a goddess on purpose, and let's be clear, sister, it's a decision, then you are deciding, you know that my two favorite words are I choose, okay? Because we know from the research that happiness is a choice. It is making intentional, purposeful choices every day, all day long. And it doesn't mean that those choices are easy, right? It wasn't necessarily easy to go to Miami for 7 weeks. There was so much I had to do, and I had to be super creative, and I had to overcome some hurdles and obstacles and figure things out. And I can do that, and so can you. So let's be clear that it all begins with your desires, with your vision for your life. A woman came to me recently, and she's like, I know exactly where I want to be. Like, I see it, I get it, but that feels like 100 yards down the field. I have no idea how to get there. It's like, what is the first step? And there's so much noise coming at her on Facebook and everywhere else. Some people think that she's crazy for her big vision. Other people are trying to sell her things to get her to their vision. She like is over. I forget that because I guess I am too. So let me go back. So she doesn't know how to get down that field. Like, what is the first step? And it's overwhelming. And there's so many ideas and so much noise. And like, what's the first thing? And then another woman came to me recently and just signed up for the Goddess on Purpose course. And she's like, I don't even know what my purpose is. All I know is that something is missing. And I feel lost. Right. And so the thing I love about the Goddess on Purpose course is no matter where you fit on this spectrum, the course will get you there because of the way I've designed the exercises. Like, it's so freaking genius and amazing and will literally change your life and world. And it starts with that vision. And so we actually have to pause in life, right? The reason to take a course like Goddess on Purpose or some other course, or to go on a retreat, or to do any of that kind of thing is because life gets so busy, right? It controls you, that we actually often need something, I know I do, that forces me to pause, forces me to only spend time like with my own dreams, my own desires, forces me to actually like have that spaciousness and then the tools to be able to even figure out, what do I want? Because I don't know about you, but nobody asked me that when I was in high school or even in college. No one like gave me a course or had me sit down and say, what do you actually want? Who are you really? What will light you up? And the closest thing I remember is like a guidance counselor in high school. I took some sort of career exam and it said I could be a CEO or an astronaut. Like, it was all over the board. But if you're anything like me, right, you like did all the things you were supposed to do. And then you're so overwhelmed with everything all around you and no one's giving you that space. Sister, being a goddess on purpose, living on purpose means you give that space to yourself, just like you're giving yourself the moment to listen to this podcast. So you pause, you step back, and then you let yourself have dreams, vision, desires. You may be somebody you're like, I don't even know what my desires are. Like, even if I paused, I've got nothing. Totally get that, sister. That's because there's so much noise and there's probably been so many people who told you what life was supposed to be and you've done all the things and now you kind of forgot who you were and you've lost access with the deepest part of you that can get turned on and excited and can get clear. This is why I don't think that we go find our purpose, because finding our purpose means it's out there somewhere. I call it uncover your purpose. Removing the layers of other people's expectations, the shoulds, all of that, to go deep into your heart and soul and start finding the juice and the passion within. It's a beautiful process. And it begins with that. I call it a desire deep dive. And it's an exercise I just did with one of my goddess groups. And the women were like salivating by the end. They were so lit up in their juicy desires. And they found desires that they didn't even know existed there. And so what you do is you go inside to dive deep into your desires and have that vision for what lights you up, for what will light you up. So freaking juicy. This is why I do this right at the beginning of the Goddess on Purpose course, because I want you to have that tool to be able to visualize. So if you pause right now and you say, okay, 5 years from now, if everything went even better than it could possibly go, what will life look like? What will life taste like? What will life smell like? And it's got to be full body visioning. Laura King is a psychology researcher who created this tool called Best Possible Future Self. And then if you ask yourself that question every day for a few days, you'll start to go deeper and see themes. It's such a delicious, yummy exercise that I love taking people through. And the thing about full body visioning, so here's what we know about visioning. According to research, your brain does not know the difference between what you envision and what is reality. A research study was done where people were looking at a painting while having a brain scan. The researchers could see which parts of their brain, like the attention area, were being lit up. And then afterwards, the researchers had the people visualize the painting, think about it, and see, again, which parts of their brain light up. There was an 88% overlap between brain activity in looking at the painting and thinking about or visualizing the painting. That's freaking amazing. That's incredible. That should blow your freaking mind. Because what that means is that when you are visualizing full on, you can see the details. Like for one of my clients, her dream was that she was living in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, skiing, surrounded by people who were like chill and were interesting and were earthy and gave a damn. And she and I met and she was living in New York City, having a very different life. And I tell you, sister, a couple of years later, that's exactly where she lives. And in the most miracle of miracle ways, she created on purpose her dreams and her desires. Does it mean it was easy? Nope. Does it mean that she had to get creative? Yes. And the vision is reality because according to her brain, the more she visualized what really lights her up, your brain doesn't know the difference. Now, this is amazing. We actually know sports psychologists use this tool all the time. A research study was done where one group was given leg exercises to do, like muscle exercises. Another group was told to think about doing those same exercises. Like they showed them the exercise, think about it, and another group did no exercise. Would you believe that the people who just thought about doing the leg exercise actually improved muscle mass? The brain is insane. The brain is amazing. If you control your brain instead of your brain controlling you, right? When your brain controls you, what happens is that you get a vision, an idea. Like, let's say you hear about me living in Miami. You're like, oh, I want to do that. Or you're like, you know what? It's not Miami for me. It's living in the mountains. Or for me, it's going off and spending a year in Paris. Or for me, it has nothing to do with where I live. It's writing that book or whatever it is for you. Okay? You get some sort of visual. And then what happens is that another part of your brain, the reptilian brain, which is the part of your brain that's just about survival, just about seeing threats, just about how are we going to make it in the world, that is your fear brain, your anxiety brain. And your anxiety brain and fear brain immediately starts telling you all the reasons that your vision is not possible, right? Well, you can't just take off to Paris. What are you going to do with the kids? You can't just take off and be a ski bum. You won't make any money. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We all know how the anxiety brain, the fear brain works. And then you shut it down. So massive key is one, giving yourself the space, the structure, the support, the tools to pause and get into that vision, get into that desires. And then to actually do the full body visioning where you can taste it, smell it, sensual experience and be lit up and let your brain believe that it's actually happening. Sports psychologists use this all the time. I remember watching the Olympics a few years ago, and right before a skier went down the hill, they showed her standing next to like the marker at the top. I don't know what that's called. And you could see her bending her knees and then turning a little bit to the right and then turning a little bit to the left and then bending her knees and bending to the left. And she was visualizing the course. She was saying to her brain, this is already done. And we know from research by sports psychologists that this helps athletes like golfers, bowlers, skiers, swimmers. They all visualize it before it's happened, so their brain believes that it's already done. If they are using that for success, Olympic athletes, then sister, start using it for your life. Being a goddess on purpose. Now, without that sense of purpose, I would not have ended up in Miami. I wouldn't have been able to have my parents see Shay every day, and I wouldn't have been able to see them every day. That is such a gift. They're in their mid-70s, and we haven't lived in the same city for, 15 or 20 years, maybe more, 20 years at least. What a freaking gift that every day I could be with them and that they could be with Shay when he was a baby. It's such a gift for both. And we rented a boat twice. Listen to this one. This is so good. Okay, Josh and I love boats. This is a side story, though. It's totally related. It's another one of these when you're on purpose, everything is possible. So when I lived in Cleveland, I went to visit my cousin Stacy in Denver. And she was talking about why she loves living in Denver. Like, she always has loved the mountains. It's like her happy place. And so on the plane ride back, I'm thinking to myself, where's my happy place? And I thought, the water. The water is my happy place. Whenever I travel, I always make my way to a marina. I've never had a boat in my life, okay? But when I spent a month in Paris, wherever I would go down to Nice and I would end up having dinner on the marina. If I'm anywhere, I find the marina. I love it. Barcelona, I remember having dinner on the marina. And these are all places, by the way, sister, I traveled by myself. Now, how did I travel by myself? I had the vision of traveling by myself after my divorce. So I did it. That is being a goddess on purpose. It's what I want to teach you and why I want to get you in my Goddess on Purpose course. Okay. So I thought to myself, the water. Well, then it's like, well, I live in Cleveland. Cleveland's on the water. And I never would think about Cleveland being in the water. It was like 20 minutes away, but it's on the Great Lakes. And then I remembered a friend of mine had a boat. And so we talked and she's like, come on my boat. Now, I go down, I meet her at her dock, and I'm walking by this small boat on the way to her boat. And there is this smaller little speedboat, and there's a couple sitting on it, and they're just having wine and cheese. And I said, oh, that's the exact kind of boat I would want. And they said to me, do you want to buy it? I'm like, wait, what? I wasn't talking to them necessarily. I just said it. And they said, yeah, we're moving. Do you want to buy our boat? Sister, I bought that boat. Boom, bought the boat. Now, I didn't know how to drive a boat. I didn't know anything about having a boat. But talk about being on purpose, right? I had a vision. I was so clear about what lights me up, what I love, and I made it happen. Is there a moment of luck, quote unquote, there? Womanifesting. It's when you tell the universe, I'm ready to be in alignment with my purpose, with my heart, with my soul. The universe will provide you an opportunity. Now, here's the thing, sister. You have to say yes. You have to be able to feel your heart. And you have to say to your heart and to your soul, your desires, your vision, you have to be able to say, self, I am listening. Desires, I am listening. Vision, I am listening, and I will say yes. That is the magic key, and that's living on purpose. And that is the only reason that I was able to have a boat. That's the only reason that I was able to live in New York City, to be on Sirius XM radio, to have this podcast, to travel all over the world by myself, and now to live in Miami for 7 glorious weeks. And so there Josh and I were in Miami, and we're like, we're renting a boat. We love it. He had never done boats before me, but now when we're in different places where you can boat, we rent a boat. One day we know we're going to have a boat. And so we rented a boat with my parents and Shay, and it was so much fun. You could go back and look at my Instagram for that if you want, Karen Rockhind. And it was so great. It was so great. It was so great. One of my clients, one of my rock star VIP clients, these are the women who work with me one-on-one on living big, fully going after their purpose, feeling delicious in life. She saw my pictures, and every week in our coaching session, she saw me on that patio with the palm trees all around me. So she's in the vision. She's like, ooh, I want to be in Miami. I want to be in Miami. She says to her husband, I want to be in Miami. She sees me on the boat. She's like, that's it. I want to be on a boat. So she and her husband booked a trip down to Miami while we were there. So we had our one-on-one session where she had been seeing it on the Zoom in that patio. And she had this full body relax exhale. Her vision coming to reality. And then I said, hey, let's rent a boat. And so we rented a second boat. And she had the vision, made it happen. Now, you might be listening to this. You're like, oh, but she's rich. She could do that. Or Karen, you're rich. No, I will say I have a position of privilege. I totally, totally hear you. I grew up white. I grew up upper middle class, all of that. And sister, please hear me on this. When I got divorced the first time, I ended up with 0 in my bank account. We had $40,000 of credit card debt. We made $40,000 on the sale of our house, and I ended up with zero. And I'm someone who had worked my ass off in college to make money waiting tables so that when I got married, I had $7,000 in my bank account at 22 years old. I was so proud of myself. But we ended up with all this credit card debt. And so I ended up with zero after that marriage and built up from there. And then when I was 36 and I left corporate to go to grad school, my grad school was $55,000 for 1 year. I took a leap of faith, and I didn't go to grad school, as you know, for something like accounting that has a job at the end of it and there's companies trying to hire me at the end. I went to grad school following my heart and my soul, following my purpose to get my master's degree in happiness and positive psychology to do this work with you. It was a total crapshoot. There was no guarantee. And my dad said to me, that is crazy. And you know what? It was a little crazy. But I had made the decision. I'm going to listen. I had said to myself, self, I hear you. I am listening. And I made the promise that I would say yes to myself. And that I trusted myself that if it all fell apart, I could get another job. I could do something else. But I was no longer going to live a life where I wasn't on purpose. I wasn't being intentional. I wasn't saying yes to the vision. And I wasn't doing the damn thing that I was meant to do in this world. And that's what I want for you too, sister. So let's be clear that when I went back to graduate school, I again was down to no money. I'm still paying grad school off in loans. I could just pay it off at this point because I've made enough money. Thank you, goddess. But I like paying it off in small increments. But the point is that I finished grad school with no money. I had $2,000 in my bank account. My dream, my vision, my knowing was to live in New York City. My rent was $2,000 a month for a 200 square foot apartment. And since I had $2,000 in my bank account, there went my money for the first month. I'm not saying it's easy to listen to your dream and your desire. I am saying it's possible because then you start to get creative with the how can I, what is possible. So at that point with New York, I'm a little off my Miami story, but at that point with New York, I was like, all right, universe, I need some sort of money. And a friend of mine said to me, hey, there's this job at my company for a sales trainer. I wasn't a sales trainer. I'm like, all right, I'll take it. I taught sales training through positive psychology. Let the universe work with you. Say yes to that vision. But you do have to have the vision. And then you say yes. And so I want you to hear me that I have had no money at two different points in my adult life. And so if you're thinking, well, Karen was only able to go to Miami because she makes multiple six figures in her business and she has this podcast and she has this like crazy good life. I do not want you to hear that it was luck. I want you to hear that I created it, sister. And I do this podcast for free for you so that you can create it too. And yes, I have paid courses so that you can get more. That's why I have the Goddess on Purpose course. And I make it affordable. If you think it's not affordable, my grad school was $55,000. Okay. I did the big heavy lifting and I spend literally tens of thousands of dollars on coaching every year for me so that I can pass that to you at a much lower rate. But you're going to have to say yes to yourself probably before you have the money. You say yes to yourself so that you can then go and make the money. Do you see how that works? I said yes to the New York apartment before I had the money. And then I let the universe take care of me because I believed in myself and I knew I would do whatever I had to do and it would work out. The same with grad school. I spent all the money I had in my bank account, which was 20 grand on grad school at the time, took out the loan for the rest and trusted and knew because I believe in myself that I would keep saying yes and I would make it happen. And I have. And so if you hear that I could just, oh, Karen's so lucky she can just go to Miami for 7 weeks or her client. No. My client got out of a marriage with a sex addict and was left with nothing and 3 babies. Okay. So we create it because we are goddesses on purpose. And sister, you're just like us. You're just like us. And going to Miami had complications, right? My reptilian brain was like, can we afford this? How are we going to be able to pay the mortgage and whatever else we need to pay for in Miami? What about our nanny? What about Shay's daycare? What about driving? What about COVID? What about, right? Like all these things, my brain, my reptilian brain wanted to shut the idea down. But being a goddess on purpose means that you don't let any of that actually take you down. You understand that your reptilian brain is working for you to try to protect you and help you. And then you come back at that reptilian brain. You let it give you data. Oh, it wants to make sure Shay is taken care of. So let me figure out what we're going to do about daycare. So we asked our nanny, who, by the way, only works for us half time. Okay. We asked her, would you like to come to Miami with us? We're not increasing your hours when you're there. And it just so happened that the other people that she worked with, because she was mornings with us, afternoons with someone else, they were getting a full-time au pair. And so she wasn't needed there anymore. Like, I'm telling you, the universe will respond. And even if the universe hadn't responded in that way, we were already prepared to go to Miami and to find a sitter there. We'd figure it out. Housing. We looked at Airbnb, we looked at VRBO, we looked at all the things, and then I remembered friends of my parents weren't coming down this year. And so I asked, can we rent your house? And we came up with an amazing arrangement that allowed us to take care of her house, allowed her to receive some additional things that she wanted and needed. It just so worked out. I actually started doing some life coaching with her. Everything can work out if you believe it can. And this is also a major thing that I teach you in the Goddess on Purpose course. How to work with that reptilian brain, how to overcome anything that it throws at you. And then I use my magic to kick you in the booty to go get it, to go do it. One of my favorite things about the Goddess on Purpose course is that I do challenges that actually lovingly, I hold you and hold you and hold you, and then lovingly kick your tushy out to go do the damn thing. Now, let's be clear. If I weren't living both purposefully, meaning intentionally, I'm the creator, the designer of my life, Miami never would have happened. Let me also be clear that if I weren't living my specific purpose on earth, Miami wouldn't have happened. Because when you do the work to get clear on what your purpose is, part of your purpose, okay, purpose means the active impact that you uniquely make in the world. And part of the work is knowing what your values are and being in alignment with your heart and soul. And for me, it's only in alignment if I get my afternoons off with Shay. It's only in alignment if I work whenever I want to and I don't work when I don't want to, right? Making my own schedule is a massive part of me getting to live my purpose. And this was before COVID, obviously, where now people are working from anywhere. But ever since starting PurposeGirl, I've worked from wherever I wanted. That's part of me having my purpose. And so there's living purposefully, intentionally. And then there is us, you and I, getting clear on your purpose and getting you out there doing it so that you can live life on your terms as well. If I were not living my purpose, which is to light you up, inspire and empower women to feel beautiful, love themselves, and go after their dreams, if I were not doing that, I couldn't have been in Miami. Right? If I were still at a corporate job where they set the hours or they set where I had to be, couldn't have happened. Unless I got creative. Actually, I say that and then I'm like, wait, I've lived purposefully in corporate before, where once I wanted to go live in Paris for a month. And so I went into my boss's office and I said, hey, I'm going to do that. And I could either work here or not. And I know I sound crazy, but remember, I'm the goddess that almost lost her life when I was robbed at gunpoint. I'm now the goddess that just listens to every bit of purpose that comes to me, like throwing the Women's Day event. I mean, I just threw an event for 2,500 women while living in paradise to follow my dreams, while running my full-time coaching PurposeGirl business, while having an 8-month-old, while running and taking care of my body every day. And it was a smashing success, if I do say so myself. I was only able to do that because I live my purpose. And I only planned that event in 8 weeks. And if I could do that for myself in 8 weeks, imagine what I can do for you and your purpose in 8 weeks. Like, that's what the Goddess on Purpose course is. And yes, I'm shamelessly talking about it a lot because I want you in that course. Like, if you've been listening to PurposeGirl podcast for a while, like, what are you doing? Why are you waiting to get into that course with me so you can have me live? It's super affordable. And I will offer you, if you don't like the payment plan, just contact me. I'll give you a better payment plan. I don't care. I just want to get you finally doing the damn thing. I want to get you creating your life. If it's Miami, if it's Jackson Hole, if it's Paris, if it's a book, if it's running a program for kids, if it is whatever it is, I want to get you figuring that out, filling yourself up, being surrounded by women who love you unconditionally, who will allow you to be in your anger, in your tears, in your sorrow, in your grief, in your pain, in your feeling lost, in your fear, and who will lovingly cheerlead you to move forward. And the thing about purpose is that it is making an impact. And a massive piece of making an impact is you being your true authentic self in the world, is you doing anything and everything that lights you up, because then you are so full, you're so radiant, right? When you're lacking purpose, if you have ever had that feeling or you have that feeling now like something is missing, what purpose does, like what other happiness things do, like I love ice cream. I had ice cream yesterday. Our ice cream shop, local shop in town, is finally open, and it made me happy for a few minutes, right? Maybe even for the rest of the night. Wait, let me redo. What purpose does is it fills you up. It fulfills you, because it's like other happiness things are short term. Like I love ice cream, and our ice cream shop, our local ice cream shop, is finally open. And so we went yesterday. It made me happy for a few minutes, maybe even the rest of the night, which is awesome. But those short-term happinesses don't give you the fulfillment. When you feel like something is missing, something is off in your life, you have the craving or the yearning for more. What you're looking for is fulfillment, to fill up. And that's what purpose does, because it is being all of you, your true you, discovering who that is and being it gloriously alive, full, on fire, even where some would say, who does she think she is to be so arrogant and be out there in the world like that? That's you being on purpose. Doing the various things in your heart. It might not look on the surface like me living in Miami for 7 weeks is living my purpose of empowering women, but it is, because my life serves as a role model, as an example for you, for my clients, for everyone else, for other goddesses, of what is possible. It's setting an example for my son, even if at 8 months he isn't clear about it. He's going to grow up with a mom who her whole life is going to listen to her heart and soul desires. And that's how he's going to learn to do the same. That's the richness, the fullness of being a goddess on purpose. Being in your joy, your pleasure, your aliveness, your power, your voice. You're going for it. Your impact. It's so delicious. So the thing about purpose is most people think of it as like, what career am I supposed to have? And yes, that can be part of it, and is for me and is for many people. And it's also how you live, sister. Because how you live needs to be on purpose, intentional, designing your own life, being and doing, and therefore role modeling, and therefore lighting others up. That's making a massive impact. And so what's your Miami, sister? What is your equivalent of Miami? A few purpose power tips for you. Number 1, pause, decide, and vision. And if you need help with that, you know what to do. Get in Goddess on Purpose ASAP. Number 2, tell yourself, I am listening. And then listen deeply to what that vision is and what the desires are, and then tell yourself yes. And number 3, when the reptilian brain starts to speak up to you and tell you all the reasons you can't do or be your vision, talk back. Listen to what it might be telling you, and then reframe it, answer the issues, and move forward. And then number 4, do it and allow your light to light up the world. I hope that that's what me being in Miami did for you. And I hope that whatever is in your heart and what you do does that for me. That's how we change the world, one woman at a time. And sister, if you want that extra help and support, I'm going to say it one more time. Get into the Goddess on Purpose course. If you're like, but Karen, I can't afford it, then just email me for a different payment plan. And let me tell you this, if you think you can't afford it, you actually can't not afford it. Because how's it working for you not following your purpose? Rather, do what I do every time I want to join a course, commit first, and then let the excitement and being lit up figure out how to pay for it. Like I wanted to join Mama Gina's mastery program. It was $5,000. A friend of mine was like, oh, how am I going to do a payment plan? What am I going to save? How am I going to cut down on my expenses? I said, I'm just going to make the money. So I paid for it. And then I said to myself, what are all the ways I can make money? Boom, made the money within a week. Grad school. I didn't know how I was going to pay $55,000, but I trusted. I said yes to myself. I did it. And then now I'm on a payment plan. I pay it off every month. And I actually could pay the remainder, but I like the payment plan. Boom. You have to actually commit first. And if you look at the price of the course, it's actually dirt cheap because purpose, sister, is priceless. Like, what is the price of you not living your purpose? Purpose is priceless. So go to goddessonpurposecourse.com. Join me and the other sisters who have already said yes. Let's do this thing. We start April 17th, 2021. So get your booty in there now. And with that, my love, may you live purposefully. May you love yourself and may you love life. Bye for now.